Hello, everybody. My name is Rudy Montijo. I am 40 years old and I live in Phoenix, Arizona with my fiance and our two children. And I am the creator of Jokes from My Shed. And the purpose of this video here is to give you a little bit of backstory about how Jokes from My Shed got started. Um, Again, my name is Rudy. I've always been a fan of stand-up comedy. I've listened to it on satellite radio. I watched it. It's always been a huge fan. I think what really got me into comedy was probably when I was in high school, listening to Adam Sandler CDs. You had, the GOAT, and these hilarious CDs that me and my friends just listened to over and over again. I thought it was very funny. As I got older, I started to see other comedians where I liked a lot. Louis C.K., one of my favorites. I know he's gotten in trouble recently, but I think he's incredibly funny. Dave Chappelle, one of the best. Rodney Dangerfield, my personal favorite. Mitch Hedberg. I had a chance to meet Don Rickles one time. With Regis Philbin, who's very funny, not necessarily a comedian, but definitely a celebrity and a public figure who, in my opinion, is pretty funny and very outgoing. So I've always been very drawn to comedy because to see somebody up there on stage in front of hundreds or thousands of people with just a microphone, no smoke, no fireworks, none of this big old production, and just sit there and tell jokes. You have a mic, usually a stool and a bottle of water, and a guy or a girl engaging an entire audience. To me, it's extremely artistic, it's extremely expressive, and it's very rare to see someone be able to do that and captivate an entire audience. So I loved it. I like being not the center of attention, so to speak, but I like being in front of a camera, or I like having that experience. So, like if you're playing a sport and you're on there and people are watching, I like that feeling you get when you do a good job and people applaud. So whatever that's called, egotistical or I don't know. It just to me it feels good and it's a cool thing. That's why I love playing sports, and that's why I love or wanted to love doing comedy. I never actually got into it full fledged, but that's what I'm doing now. So I started out doing stand up comedy about 25, 26 years old. Writing jokes down and trying to do stand up. I went to a place called Laughs in Tucson, Arizona. Did some open mic nights. Went up to Phoenix in Scottsdale, Arizona, to a place called the Comedy Spot and did it up there. Didn't do it a whole lot, but did it enough to know I enjoyed it and I liked it. I don't really remember the jokes that I said. I think I kind of blacked out when I was on stage, but it was an enjoyable experience to say the least. So I ended up packing up my bags and moving to Los Angeles, like a lot of people do, with the dreams of getting into acting via stand-up comedy. You see a lot of comics go from doing stand-up comedy or skit comedy and satire into acting roles. So that's what I wanted to do. So I get out there, and unfortunately, all I did was party and drink and didn't really get anywhere. Didn't do anything productive. Even had the chance. I had met a gentleman who was on CSI Miami and became acquaintances with him, and he invited me on to an open mic called Chocolate Sundays at the Laugh Factory, I think on Sunset, and never even took him up on that offer because I was too busy. So, a lesson to anybody out there: stick to what you're doing. Leave the drinking, the partying alone if you want to be successful in whatever you're doing. Otherwise, it'll take you down. Anyways, fast forward. A number of years later, I get cleaned up, I get sober, and I meet someone. We fall in love, we get engaged, and now we have two children. My 17-month-old, who is sleeping, actually just woke up after I'll pick him up from his nap right now, and my 1-month-old daughter, Savannah, who is sleeping right next to me. So a lot of you are parents. You can understand once you get to a certain point in life, you don't have a lot of the free time to do the things that you once loved and are very passionate about. You still love them, you just don't have the time to do it anymore. And so I didn't want to wind up being on my deathbed and wish, hey, you know what, I wish I would have gave stand-up comedy a shot. I wish I'd have done this. I don't want to live with any regrets now or in the future. So I said, well, what can I do to to get this out, because I always write jokes down. I think it's something funny. I pull out my phone, I write it on my notepad, and I kind of put it back in my back pocket, um, literally and metaphorically, and save it for later. And so now I have these jokes, and I want to tell them to people. I don't know how good they are. It's not like, the world's not going to stop spinning if you don't hear Rudy's jokes. That's not how it is. But for me, it's very important to get it out because it's a passion thing. It makes me happy, and I wanted to do it. So with social media being the way it is, with YouTube, with all these outlets, with connections to all my family and friends on Facebook who know that I've loved to do this for a long time, I can make a video, I can upload it, and there you go. So that is how Jokes from the Shed got started. Thanks.